Okay guys, welcome back to the shop. We got a quick little project I'm gonna do today. So as you know, with the art and stuff I make, my busy season is right around the holidays. And so it gets crazy, the shop gets kind of like out of control, and then I get a little bit of a lull here in the beginning of the year. So what I've been trying to do is invest in a little bit of upgrading to the shop. If you haven't seen, I just took one of the Costco shelving units that I use quite a bit, and I turned it into a nice piece of maple and mahogany furniture to kind of match the rest of the shop environment. I'm also going to build another miter station, but that's to come. In the meantime, I wanted to replace the top of my outfeed table. It gets really beat up. It's MDF and it gets all scratched, and usually once a year I try to flip it, but this year I think I'd like to replace the surface with formica. I've seen another YouTuber, Bourbon Moth Woodworking, he like raves about the formica top, and I want to try to like kind of copy that. He says glue doesn't stick to it, it's a little more durable than just like paint on the MDF. And I think I also want to just edge band it with some mahogany again so it matches. So we're gonna try to knock that out today. I don't think it's gonna take very long. I think it's a good little upgrade. If you wanted to try this too, I'm gonna knock it out and I'm gonna see how I like it. But the first thing we gotta do here is, if you've seen me flip this before, you know this is a thing, but I've gotta just take the screws out that holds this down to the frame, and I'm gonna flip it. We should have a nice clean surface to coat with contact cement and lay the formica down. So let's start there. All right, so the tabletop's clean. I did run the sander over it just to kind of give it a little bit of tooth and to take down any of the screw holes that might have been kind of like popping up there. Wow, it looks nice when it's all clean like that. Let's take a look at the laminate, or the formica, whatever you want to call it. This guy's a 4x8 sheet that I picked up from Home Depot. I think formica comes in 4x8 and like 5x12. My outfeed table is only 4x6. It's got like a drop down leaf, so I won't need all of this, but I think I'm gonna lay it down in one piece and then trim it out once I've got it in place. I think that's gonna be the easiest way to do it. It's slightly wasteful, but I can't imagine what I would use like a 2-foot section for. So I wanna pop this open and take a look at it. Ooh, wow, this stuff is, yeah, this stuff seems pretty dang heavy duty. I'm gonna have to try to see what I can cut this with to like get it somewhat to the size I need. I know I can flush trim it with a trim router, but I should probably get the edges like slightly close. I'm gonna try utility. Actually, I might need to use my circular saw. I mean, at first glance, this stuff looks nice and durable. I'm excited, I like this, I think I like this pattern. Yo. The other thing they say to do is turn off any heating device or any kind of like open flame when it comes to the contact cement, which I'll do here in a second. Oh man, that might fit just perfect. Wow, okay, so we don't have very much wiggle room, unfortunately. That's okay. I didn't think about this, but one thing I'm gonna have to do is this is exactly the same width as my tabletop, and it doesn't have the best edges. I want to be able to flush trim it. And so I think what I'm gonna have to do is just take like an 1/8 inch off the side of my tabletop, which won't be hard. I've got a straight edge, and I'll just use that with my flush trim bit, just to trim it up a little bit. It's not like I need another 1/8 inch width anyway. Perfect. Okay, I like that a lot more. Now we've got a little bit of overhang, so we can flush trim that to just perfect. I'm just gonna clamp this in place so I can cut that end off closest to the camera.
So at this point, I've got my laminate, my formica to exactly where I want it to be size-wise, and it's time to start applying the contact cement. Now, if you've ever worked with this stuff before, you know the fumes are nearly unbearable, so you've got to wear a respirator. You also have to shut off like anything that could make a spark, so any kind of heating device, I always turn off like light switches if I can, that kind of thing, just because the fumes are that bad. But once you've got a couple coats on there, you've let them dry, you follow the directions on the can, then basically it's time to install it. And a lot of people use stickers. I ended up using these little like paint triangle things to just kind of get it raised up so I could position it and then finally stick it down. From there, all I had left to do was to flush trim the outside. And while I was doing that, I was able to separate the extension arm or extension flap there from the main workbench. I just ran the flush trim right through that crack and it worked out really well. Came out really nice.
All right, cool. That went really well. That wasn't too bad. I love the look of this. That flush trim just like really brings everything together. I mean, it looks like, it's perfect. It's actually pretty forgiving, this stuff. Besides the fact that it stinks to high heaven, I had to open some doors. I've got the long sleeve on because the breeze is going through here. I don't know, success. So I like the look of it plain like this, but I think what I'm gonna do, and I think I'm gonna like it more, is just like the CNC enclosures trimmed out in that 1/4 inch mahogany, I'm gonna rip a few strips of that and do the same thing to this. I think, I've seen where it kind of like chips on the side, and I think this is gonna prevent any of that. It's also gonna look a little dressier. So I will rip up a couple strips of that and we'll be right back, and we're going to just glue and nail it right to the side, and then we'll be done.
Alright guys, that's it for this one. I love the way this thing came out. I hope you can do something like this in your shop. I highly recommend it. If you enjoyed this video, throw me a like down there. Subscribe if you're not already. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time.